My son banned me from his wedding, then forced me to take out a mortgage on our house to pay for his $140,000 vineyard wedding and honeymoon. He called me a disgrace and even sneered. Thank you for letting me contribute. I swallowed my tears, pressed record, and started planning. When the screen lit up to "In Memory of Dad," his words would come out, and so would the truth about what I really had. Before I reveal the next part, tell me in the comments what you think will happen. The email chimed into the gray afternoon like a bad joke. I sat at my kitchen table in South Austin with the window cracked to the scent of wet mesquite. Subject line, "Final wedding budget plus your contribution." I clicked. A spreadsheet bloomed $140,000 in tidy rows. Vineyard venue. Designer florals. A plated dinner under market lights. A content trip honeymoon to Bora Bora. Another email landed on top of it, brisk and clean. "You're not on the guest list, Dad. It's complicated. Image. You get it." I stared at the words until the screen shimmered. Complicated. Image. I looked up at Nora's faded blue apron on its hook by the stove, the pocket frayed from years of hands. The house hummed the way it does before a storm. A text buzzed. "If you care about me, take a HELOC or sell the house. Transfer by Friday. Don't make this awkward." I called. He picked up on the second ring, voice already on the attack. "Good. You saw the numbers. This is simple. You've been sitting on that house for decades. Use it. Take a loan or sell it. I'm not asking for debate." I set the phone on speaker and opened the recorder app with my thumb. In Texas, one voice consenting is enough. The red dot rolled. "Use it," I repeated, keeping my voice even. "You mean the house your mother and I paid off by cooking beans and rice and patching drywall on Saturdays?" He laughed without humor. "I'm not doing this sentimental tour, okay? Brooks' crowd will be there. People with real networks. No offense, but you don't fit. Your car, your clothes, your whole vibe, it drags the brand down. I don't need you at my wedding. I need your money." The words slapped clean and sharp. I swallowed. "Put me on with her." Brooks' tone slid through like perfume. "Miguel, hi. This is about presenting Daniel right. Right rooms, right faces. We can't have distractions. You can still be proud. From home. We'll send photos and a reel. What we need is cash." That's helpful. That's love. "Helpful," I said, like a mask is helpful in a fire. She didn't miss a beat. 10 a.m. Friday for the transfer. HELOC is fastest. If you sell the house, don't screw our timeline. Daniel jumped back in. Hotter. "Do you hear us? This is your chance to finally pull your weight. For once, don't make me look like I crawled out of nowhere. Don't sabotage me with your small life. You're lucky I'm even giving you a way to matter here." My jaw clicked. "You came from this house," I said. "From long nights and early mornings. From a woman who would have told you there are better uses for money than hiring someone to scatter peonies to look accidental." He scoffed. "I don't care about your lectures. Wire the money. You're not stepping foot near the aisle. Keep your head down. Sign the paperwork." And his voice went cold. "Thank me for letting you contribute." Silence bled into the room after he hung up. The refrigerator hummed. A drop of water crept from the sweating base of my glass and traced a clean line across the table's laminate, finding a hairline crack I've been meaning to glue. I stared at Nora's apron until the blue went watery, and then cleared again. I picked up the phone and saved the call. Voice memos, 01. I renamed it, Sell Your House. .wave. I set a new folder and called it Tribute. Another text hit. Remember, 10 a.m. Friday. Don't be selfish. I breathed in slow, the way you do before you step onto a ladder and trust the first rung. My hands were steady. I opened a browser and typed, Sagebrush Ridge Vineyard production schedule. Another tab, audio playback Dripping Springs. A third, endowment paperwork, electrical safety fund, Austin. They wanted to erase me and keep my wallet. They wanted me quiet, useful, invisible. I looked around my small kitchen, the clock ticking, the afternoon pressed low, the apron soft with years. I wasn't going to be quiet. I wasn't going to be useful on those terms. You don't get to buy my absence and rent my dignity, I said into the empty room. You don't get to call me nothing and spend me like something. You don't get to build your image on my silence. I dragged the recording into the tribute folder and watched the progress bar flash done. Then I opened a blank document and began a list. Times, contacts, segments, cues. If they needed a show, they would get one. Not with my face on their aisle, but with their words in their own hall. Let's start. Sagebrush Ridge Vineyard smelled like crushed grapeskins and wet cedar. I walked the gravel path toward the event pavilion, a white structure tucked into the hill country, its beams strung with lights that waited for dusk. Inside, a low stage faced a wall of LED panels. The AV booth glowed like a cockpit. "Lena?" I asked. She turned from a console, a woman in a black headset with a coil of gaffer tape looped on her belt. "You must be Mr. Santos." "I'm Miguel," I said. "I'd like to add a short segment to the run of show, a tribute. From me to my son, 60 to 90 seconds. No live mic, just a file. Clean." Her eyebrows lifted, not unfriendly. "We schedule everything. If it's in, it's in. If it's not, it's not." "What's the cue?" "After the groom's thank you speech," I said, "when everyone expects sweetness." She tapped her tablet. "We've got a soft band set there. I can create a slot. Tribute to Dad, MP4 H.264 stereo. If you want captions, SART embedded or burned in." "Burned in," I said. "White text, high contrast. Full screen." She glanced at me over the edge of the tablet. "We also require a content release. You warrant you have the rights to everything in the video, voices included." "I do," I said. My voice didn't waver. "It's my message. My rights." Lena nodded, businesslike. "Upload deadline is 24 hours before showtime. There's a shared folder producer link only. We lock playback to auto on the queue. Booth won't preview content once locked." "Perfect. I'll deliver before your deadline." She led me onto the floor. The empty chairs looked like an audience holding its breath. We stood under the LEDs while a tech rolled color bars across the panels. The hum of the room settled into my bones. "Run it through the house," Lena told her op. A sting of music hit the air, then faded. "We balance at 85 dB for the toasts. Your piece will ride that." "I want it clear," I said. "No one should miss a word." Her mouth quirked. Tributes usually don't hinge on words, but sure. She sent me a QR code. "Here's the folder. Drop the final. We'll label it Tribute to Dad and lock it at 7:45 p.m. right after the groom's thanks." I scanned the code. On my phone, a clean directory opened, empty and waiting. I pictured the file names already lined up. "Sell your house." Wave curled into a timeline. Every syllable crisp and undeniable. "Anything else?" she asked. "A confirmation email," I said. "Subject line with the segment name and time. You'll have it in 2 minutes." Outside, the afternoon light thinned to silver. I paused on the threshold and listened to the quiet. Somewhere in the vines, a bird flicked through leaves. I felt the stillness that comes right before a switch is thrown. My phone buzzed. New email. Subject: Segment confirmation, tribute to Dad, 7:45 p.m. locked. I slipped the phone into my pocket and exhaled. The room was wired. Now all it needed was the truth. The credit union smelled like toner and lemon cleaner. Morning light cut the lobby into neat stripes. I slid a packet of forms to the woman in the navy blazer. Her nameplate read, Hollister. "I'd like to establish an endowment," I said. 200,000. Annual grants for safety training and gear for electrical apprentices. Partnered with the Central Texas Lineman Association. "Source of funds?" she asked. "Savings in a brokerage account," I said. "Liquid. Purpose statement?" "Because I watched a kid lose 2 fingers to an arc flash that didn't have to happen," I said. "The work that raised my family should be safer for the next one." She nodded. "We can finalize today. You'll receive an email confirmation within the hour. We can also provide a 1920 by 1080 confirmation slide for presentations." "I'll need that." While she printed, I called Garza. "You still keep that glass case at the hall with the old belt and burned gloves?" "Yeah. Put a card next to it," I said, "in honor of the ones who taught us to clip and write. Put Nora's name on it." He went quiet a beat. "She'd like that. We'll steward the money tight." Hollister returned with a folder. "Mr. Santos, your endowment is approved. You'll chair the first disbursement committee if you wish." "I do." Back in my truck, 2 emails landed. Subject: Endowment approved. Miguel Santos Electrical Safety Endowment. The PDF carried the legal language, the number, and my signature. The second email held a clean PNG. My name, $200,000, the association's logo, and a line at the bottom I'd requested, in honor of Nora Santos. I drove to the Union Hall. Coffee and dust in the air, notices pinned at angles on the corkboard. Garza held the letter like it was a live wire. 200, he said. Don't make a speech, I told him. Make it matter. At home, I cleared a space on the kitchen table and opened my laptop. The tribute folder blinked back at me empty except for one file. I dragged the PNG inside. Endowment, confirmation. PNG settled beneath sell your house. WAV like a second shoe. I opened my editor. A black timeline stretched across the screen. First, the audio. I dropped the call into place, tightened dead air, and burned captions in white, high contrast so every word landed. The worst lines showed up as hard spikes on the waveform. I set a 2-second fade to black. No music, just a breath. Then I added the endowment slide, full frame. Blue-gray, simple, undeniable. Let the silence carry it. I watched the sequence twice. It didn't gloat. It told the truth. Electricity is quiet until it isn't. So is respect. The cursor hovered over share. Not yet. I adjusted levels to sit clean at 85, gave myself 3 dB of headroom and saved again. Outside, a wind chime clinked once and went still. I checked the time. Plenty left in the day to do this right. 200,000 to put harnesses on new hands. 1 minute to show a room what dignity sounds like and what it looks like when it's missing. I clicked save one more time and let the breath out of my chest. The parking garage breathed concrete and exhaust. Late afternoon light slashed through the slats, cutting the air into bright and shadow. I waited by a painted pillar while the recorder app slept behind a blank home screen. My thumb could wake it in one tap. Daniel's footsteps came quick and irritated. He didn't bother with hello. You got my reminder for Friday, he said. 10 a.m. Don't play slow. I saw it, I said. I held his gaze. I wanted to look you in the eye. He glanced at my boots, at my work-worn hands, and curled his lip. I don't need a sermon in a parking lot. I need a wire. Stop pretending your pride is worth anything to me. I tapped the recorder. The red dot bloomed. What is it worth to you? I asked. Image, he snapped. Rooms that matter. You don't belong in them. You bring the smell of small. You make me look cheap. Sell the house. Or shut up and sign the loan. And do not show your face at the vineyard. A car crawled by, tires whispering. I felt the words land like thrown gravel and kept my voice even. You want me to finance the same event you've barred me from attending. He leaned in. I'm giving you purpose. You think I owe you access to my life just because you changed some light bulbs and kept the roof from leaking? That's bare minimum fatherhood, not a favor. You want gratitude? Earn it. Pay. I tasted metal and counted to 3. Your mother and I didn't do bare minimum, I said. We did the work. All of it. He laughed, harsh and hollow. You're a relic. A prop I don't need. What I need is 140 grand. If you can't manage that, at least have the decency to disappear. Don't embarrass me twice. His phone buzzed. He swiped. Brooke's face filled the screen, eyes lit by a ring light even in daylight. You with him? She asked. Miguel, listen. No drama. Just act like a supportive parent. Quiet is classy. Money is love. That's the exchange. Money is money, I said. Love stands in the room. She smiled without warmth. Not this room. Daniel angled the phone away. You hear me? Stop dragging me back to your kitchen table life. This is a new chapter. I'm done with the old one. He turned to leave. I let him take 3 steps. Daniel, I said. Say it again. He looked back, annoyed. What? Say the line. His mouth tightened. Then he gave it to me, clean. Thank me for letting you contribute. Thank you, I said. He shot me a puzzled look and walked into the rectangle of hard light, his suit flashing for a second like a mirror. I stood still until his footsteps disappeared. Then I exhaled and stopped the recording. Back home, the kitchen smelled like coffee gone cool. I slid the phone's files onto my laptop. Waveforms bloomed across the editor like a city at night. I scrubbed to the ugliest parts, the places his voice went flat and cold, where Brooke's word, exchange, clicked like a latch. I burned captions in white. You bring the smell of small. Have the decency to disappear. Money is love. Thank me for letting you contribute. My message pinged. A new text from him. Don't stall. 10 a.m. Friday. Be grateful you get to help. The phrase sat there black on white, almost neat. I screenshot it and dropped it into the bin, though I knew the audio would be enough. On the timeline, I dragged the line to the spot, right before the fade to black. I let it hang for a breath. I watched it through once, then again. Every syllable crisp, every choice his. Outside, a small wind moved the chinaberry leaves. Inside, the cursor blinked, ready for what came next. Rehearsal night smelled like wet cedar, and cables warming under lights. The pavilion at Sagebrush Ridge glowed low, a white rib cage against the darkening hill country sky. In the AV booth, Lena's team moved like a pit crew. Hands on faders, eyes on waveforms. You've got the final? She asked. I held up the thumb drive. Tribute Dad V3, MP4. Captions burned in. Levels set clean at 85 with headroom. She slotted it into the rack PC, the screen reflecting in her glasses as the directory populated. My file settled in a neat row of cues like a calm heartbeat. We'll lock playback to auto, she said. Cue lands right after the groom's thanks. No preview once it's locked. Good, I said. I don't want anyone fixing it. On the floor, an operator threw bars across the LED wall. Magenta, cyan, then a wash of soft gold. Chairs stood ready, white and expectant. A tech rolled a cart past us, gaffer tape flapping like a tail. Run the slot, Lena called. The house filled with the first tone of my file, a room tone I'd left in for 1 second, then the caption test frame popped and vanished. We cut before the content. We'll keep it cold, Lena said. Trust the cue. Outside, the gravel gleamed from a thin mist. Garza stood under the edge of the pavilion, hat pulled low. I pressed a sealed envelope into his hand. Inside, a printed copy of the endowment letter and a USB with the confirmation slide. If anything jams, I said, you go to the stage manager and ask them to throw this on the LED. No debate. He tucked it into his jacket. Belt and suspenders, he said. Nora would approve. My phone buzzed. Then again. Then again. Daniel. Transfer by 10 a.m. Don't be selfish. Another. Don't ruin this twice. Another, colder. If you care about me at all, you'll do it. Brooke chimed in with a heart and a champagne emoji, and the word timelines. I stared at the screen until the messages blurred into gray blocks. I opened my clock app and set a timer anyway 9 hours and something to watch. It count down, each second a small beat of patience. Then I slid the toggle to silence. The world thinned, like taking your head out of a machine's hum. Back inside, the stage crew killed the LEDs. The room dropped to a soft dusk, strings of cafe lights humming like distant bees. Lena checked a box on her tablet. Tribute to Dad. Locked. Thank you, I said. I stood at the back a moment longer, listening to the quiet breathe. The chairs, the wall of dark glass, the faint smell of grapes. They had their show. I had mine. On the drive home, the road ribboned between black fields. The timer on my dash mount ticked toward morning. I didn't speed it up or slow it down. I let it run. Dusk laid a peach-colored bruise across the hill country, and the vineyard pavilion glowed like a lantern in it. Strings of cafe lights thrummed softly, their reflections shaking in rows of clean glasses. I stood just beyond the wash of light, close enough to see the LED wall square on, far enough to keep my shadow off their floor. The room felt expensive. Laughter that didn't travel far. The hum of a hired string trio, the sweetness of peonies arranged to look effortless. Lena's headset caught a pinprick of light when she turned in the booth. I could hear the quiet language of cues, the kind of talk that clicks a whole night into place without anyone noticing. The toasts went down like bright drinks. A best man practiced to the comma. Brooke's sister with tears that glistened on schedule. Then Daniel took the mic. His suit fit like an argument he was winning. He thanked partners, vision, Brooke's incredible family. He didn't look at the dark edge where I stood. He didn't say my name. The MC kept his smile polished. And now a surprise, a special treat, a tribute to Dad. My breath hitched. Not pride, not yet. That old ache that has a weight-wet leather gloves, ladder rung, the way Nora's fingers used to press reassurance into my wrist when the power clicked back on after a storm. I found the trellis with my palm. A night insect counted time. The LED wall dipped to black. A beat of room tone. Then white letters burned up out of the dark, crisp and undeniable. Caption: "You don't belong in the rooms that matter." Daniel's voice entered the space. His voice, the one that once asked me if thunder could break windows, now ironed flat and cold. A ripple moved through the chairs like a draft. Heads turned, puzzled, then alert. Caption: "You bring the smell of small." The sentence landed with the clean hurt of thrown gravel. Brooke's hand rose, halted, lowered. Her mother straightened so sharply her necklace tilted. A man in a navy blazer glanced at the exits and back at the screen as if there might be a safer version somewhere else. No music. No montage of fishing poles or crooked birthday cakes. Lena held the levels steady at 85. There was nothing to hide behind. Only words. Only ownership. Caption: "Have the decency to disappear." His tone on that line was bored. Professional, the same register people keep for wrong orders and slow service. The hush that followed wasn't reverent. It was a power cut. Every hum in the room went to zero. I kept myself off the tape except for a prompt or two. I had learned, years ago, that electricity does not need your voice to make its point. It will find the shortest path. Someone's fork tapped a plate and wouldn't stop. A cousin pressed her clutch to her chest. Brooke's father stared at the wall like he could muscle the letters back into their casing. Brooke's voice came, bright and thin as FaceTime audio. "Just act like a supportive parent. Quiet is classy." It sounded cheap now, rinsed of its sheen. Nearby, muscadine leaves lifted and set with the shallow wind, as if the vines themselves were listening. I thought of Nora on a Halloween when the house sat in candlelight, and we made shadows on the wall, and how the furnace's rumble coming back had felt like a promise kept. I thought of all those nights, and what they were worth, and what they were not. Caption: "Money is love." The words looked obscene in white. I heard it then, the small break at the center of the crowd, the soft snap of a single twig in a fire. Gasps pulled air from the room in ragged zigzags. Someone whispered, "Is this a joke?" And no one laughed. I could see Daniel's shoulders above the sea of suits and satin. He did not move. What could he say? It was his breath, his mouth, his syllables, enlarged and undeniable. Caption: "Thank me for letting you contribute." A hard intake of breath somewhere made a sound like a starter cord yanked once. The MC's smile had thinned to a line that had nothing to do with joy. On the edge of the crowd, the planner's tablet glowed. Useless. Once a switch is thrown, the current runs where it's been set to run. I had placed the last line where the heart beats slowest, with the silence trimmed tight around it so there would be no escape hatch. The waveform on my screen at home had looked like a fence post, thick and vertical. Now the room waited, suspended, the way August waits for rain. Caption: "Sell your house." No metaphor, no soften. It hit cold. A woman flinched like she'd been named. A champagne flute chimed against a plate and kept chiming into a quiet that would not absorb it. Somewhere a child asked, "What did it say?" And a shush came too late to be kind. The camera feed, set to grab reaction shots for the wall, did the only honest thing it could. It found the groom. Daniel's face filled the LED eyes wide, then narrowing, jaw working, then locking. For a breath-long beat, I saw the boy who used to press both his hands around mine during thunder, the one who believed I could stop the sky. Then the man put his face back on. The screen held the command in white on black. The room held its breath until it hurt. The hum stayed gone. I didn't move. I didn't need to. My part was already done. The screen held the last caption like a held breath, then slipped to black. A beat. Then a new image rose clean blue-gray, impossible to argue with. Miguel Santos, Electrical Safety Endowment, $200,000, in partnership with Central Texas Lineman Association, in honor of Nora Santos. No soundtrack, no narrator, just the facts, bright as noonday. Air shifted across the room. Not a gasp, more like a collective recalibration. Someone near the bar whispered, 200,000? As if the commas weighed more than the zeros. A groomsman's laugh misfired and died. Brooke's mother pressed her lips together until they blanched. On the LED, the association's seal sat like a stamp. I'd chosen a plain font on purpose, the kind you trust on safety placards. In the booth, Lena's hands stayed off the faders. A cue is a cue. The planner stared at his tablet as if a new button might appear to undo the moment. Daniel didn't turn toward the shadows where I stood. He looked into the wall as if he'd just watched the tide rearrange a shoreline. His face, which had been all angles and control for the toasts, flickered at the corners, composure straining against something heavier. Brooke found her voice and couldn't make it behave. "Turn it off," she said to the air, to the booth, to the universe. This wasn't. The slide didn't care. It stayed. A name, an amount, a purpose. Nora's name at the bottom, small and steady. That line hit me like a hand on the shoulder from an old friend. Not pity. Fierce relief. The truth standing up straight where everyone could see it. Chairs creaked. An aunt from our side half rose, then remembered the aisle wasn't for us tonight and sat back down with her jaw set. Across the room, a young cousin mouthed, "Nora?" at her mother. The mother nodded, eyes bright and unsmiling. "Can we cut it?" the planner hissed toward the booth. "It's rolling as scheduled," Lena said, professional as a level. "It'll fade on time." It did. The blue-gray panel eased down, LEDs settling into a neutral wash. The room groped for its old hum and couldn't locate it. The string trio didn't move. The MC's smile had thinned to a line with nothing behind it. My phone began to buzz in my pocket, then again, then in a stack. I didn't check it. I kept looking at the empty screen, a heartbeat longer, and felt the shake in my hands resolve the way climbing muscles resolve once you're back on ground you trust. I slipped along the pavilion's edge. Muscadine leaves brushed my sleeve, whispering. Outside, the night smelled like damp wood and crushed stems. Gravel clicked under my boots in small, honest sounds. At the truck, I let the phone glow once. Messages layered like siding. Daniel. "Where are you?" Daniel. "Come back here." Daniel. "Fix this." Now, Daniel. "You did this. Fix it." Then one that stumbled on its own feet. Daniel. "Please." I put the phone away. The dome light sketched a little room when I opened the door. A steering wheel, a seat, a pair of boots that had known 1,000 mornings. Behind me, the band tried to choose a song that could carry a night after a hit of truth. They wouldn't find it. They'd play anyway. That was their job. Mine was finished. I closed the door. The light snapped off. Vineyard lights fuzzed and then slid out of the mirrors as I pulled away, dropping behind me like a town you leave on purpose and don't need directions back to. It was close to midnight when the knock came hard, then softer, then frantic. The porch light threw a tired halo across the wet steps. Rain freckled the doormat. The chinaberry leaves hissed. I opened the door to the chain. Daniel stood on the stoop, suit damp, hair collapsed, eyes fevered. Brooke hovered behind him, mascara smudged into crescents, clutching her coat like she could hold the night together by its lapels. "Dad," he said, voice shredded. "Let me in." I unhooked the chain and opened the door just enough for the weather to reach in. "You're in." He lifted his hands, helpless. "You humiliated me. You blew up my wedding. You pressed play," I said. "I just made sure it could be heard." Brooke spoke without the shine. "Please, Miguel, say something to the family. Spin it. Tell them you're hurt, that you took it out on Daniel. We can fix this." "Fix it," Daniel echoed. "Come back. Stand with me. Say the clip was out of context. I'll invite you to brunch. We'll post a photo. We can get past it if you help." The porch light buzzed, a tired wasp. I felt rain on my knuckles. "Out of context?" I said. "Those were full sentences. Your mouth, your choices." His jaw worked. I was stressed. I didn't mean... "You meant every word," I said, not unkind. "You meant, I don't belong. I should disappear. Money is love. Thank me for letting you contribute. Sell your house." He flinched like each line was new and hot. "I regret it," he said, raw. "Is that what you want to hear?" "I regret it. Please, they're talking." I look small. "You look accurate," I said. "And I won't rent my dignity to make you taller." Brooke swallowed. "So that's it? You won't help your own son? After all, after tonight?" "I helped him," I said. "I gave him a truth he can't delete." Daniel stepped close, rain strobing in the porch light. "I'm your son," he said like a password. "You owe me." "I owe you love," I said. "And love has a spine. It's not a loan. Respect isn't a wire transfer I'm late on." He sagged, the fight going out of him in a shiver. "What do you want from me?" he whispered. "Time," I said. "Work. Not at my door at midnight. Not for the sake of faces in a room. For real." Brooke's breath hitched. "We should go," she said, soft but decisive. Daniel looked past me into the small lit square of my house, the hooks by the door, Nora's apron, the table where we once did homework and taxes and winter puzzles. For a moment the boy peeked through the one who used to fall asleep on my chest after storms. Then he blinked him away. "I'm sorry," he said, tiny. "Good," I said. "Keep it." I closed the door. The latch clicked, a clean sound in the rain. I stood with my palm on the wood until the porch steps stopped creaking and the engine caught and faded down the block. The house breathed. The quiet came back online. In the kitchen, my phone woke on the table. New email. Subject line clear as a bell. "Thank you for your endowment, Mr. Santos." Dawn laid a pale ribbon over the Colorado River, and the Bats Bridge went from shadow to soft gray. I stood on Congress with a paper cup warming my hands and the city not quite awake, traffic a low hush, gulls stitching the sky. My phone buzzed once. Not Daniel. An email from a community college address. "Mr. Santos, I'm starting the apprentice program next month. Your fund is covering my harness and boots. My dad used to say good gear is a kind of prayer. Thank you. J. Alvarez." I read it twice, then a third time, until the words settled somewhere steady. Across the water, the morning slid along the glass of high-rises and broke into squares on the river. I opened my banking app and set a small recurring contribution to the endowment. Nothing flashy, just the kind of drip that fills a bucket over time. Another message from Garza. "We'll put Nora's name by the case today. Coffee soon?" "Soon," I typed. Notifications stacked from the night. Missed calls. Longer texts. I didn't open them. Not from anger, from choice. Some things grow in quiet. Some things don't grow at all. I finished the coffee and tossed the cup. The wind came up the river and brought the faint smell of wet cedar and dust, and for a second it felt like a job site at first. Light, voices low, belts clipped, the day not yet dangerous. "For Nora," I said, not loud. Then I put the phone in my pocket and walked toward the sun as it cleared the buildings, a free man in a small morning that belonged to me. In the end, the lesson is simple. When love arrives without respect, boundaries become love's backbone. Money can rent applause, but it cannot buy dignity. I trust that God saw every choice made, and that patient resolve can be a quiet form of justice. This is a family story about kinship that survives only when reverence and responsibility stand guard. God does not ask us to trade our worth to be called loving. Mature love accepts consequences and repairs what it breaks. May God guide my son toward humility, while I choose peace without resentment and keep Nora's name alive through service. In every family story, remember, respect is the foundation. Silence can be strength. Giving can be wiser than spending. Let this family story remind us that freedom begins where self-respect is kept. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you feel it could help someone, a gentle share would mean a lot.